All right, well, thank you both for sharing your story, and thank you everybody for coming today. I'm Jessica Jackson Sloan, the National Director of Cut 50, an initiative to end mass incarceration. We're also proud to support the First Step Act. So for me, this fight is personal, like many of you, because my daughter, Hannah, was only 2 months old when we stood in a Georgia courtroom and watched her dad sentenced to 15 serve 6.
At the time, I was too young to know that we would not get to see him or be in contact with him for the next 6 weeks, and it would be a 100-mile drive just to see him. There are 10 million kids in America who grew up with a mom or dad behind bars. It makes you wonder, how can we end this cycle? As a kid, it is very confusing to watch adults fight over politics instead of helping people solve these problems. I hope our voices today will help our elected representatives understand that there are real lives and families at stake. I'm honored here to join you all in this movement so we can break these cycles, get people home, and get people the help they need, and they can be reunited with their moms and dads.
So like Hannah said, it's so important that we're all here today and all sharing our stories. And even for the people who can't be here today, who are just watching on Facebook Live or watching on TV, it's important that they call and share their stories and remind our DC politicians that it is real families we're talking about. So to continue that conversation, it's my honor to introduce to the stage Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. Senator Whitehouse has not only been a fierce advocate for criminal justice reform during his tenure as senator, here in D.C. representing the great state of Rhode Island, but he's also spent time as a U.S. attorney and an attorney general of his state. As the Democratic co-sponsor of the First Step Act, woo! We are so appreciative of your leadership and commitment to this issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Well, thank you all for being out here. This is such an important thing to keep you out in the hot sun, and I'm really grateful to you for being out here in the hot sun. As a United States attorney and as the Attorney General of a state where the Attorney General has the full criminal prosecution authority for that state, we have no DAs in Rhode Island. That's what the Attorney General does. I have done a lot to make sure that people went into prison. What I learned in the course of my prosecutor years is that we need to do a lot more to help people when they are getting back out of prison. And Rhode Island was one of the leaders in this area, thanks to the leadership of a really forward-thinking corrections director, A.T. Wall, who I know many of you worked with during his long career. What we found is that when people are coming out of prison, they may have some needs to help them succeed when they're out. It could be as simple as job training or finishing their GED. It could be making sure that they are connected with substance abuse support. It could be that they need some mental health counseling. It could be that they need some family counseling to help with their reunification with their families. It could be that they need some help finding housing or finding a job. Whatever it is, you can identify those needs. And when you do, the people leaving incarceration are more likely to succeed. That helps everyone. When the crime rate goes down, which it did in Rhode Island after we followed these procedures, everybody wins. When there is less return to incarceration, which happened in Rhode Island when we did these procedures, everybody wins. And it's particularly important when people are being released from prison into underserved communities already, that they have a support set that can make them succeed. We don't want people back in prison simply because we didn't support their transition out of prison. So this is something that we can work on together. We're going to keep trying to keep the pot boiling on this in the Senate so that it looks like there's progress, which will get progress on the sentencing side as well, which is something we need to work on a little bit in the Senate. And then we need to keep working this forward and get a bipartisan bill passed. When the federal government is operating at its best and providing these services to people who are coming out of incarceration, that will help propagate the progress that we've seen in Rhode Island and Texas and other states nationally as well. We would like the Federal Bureau of Prisons to be a model for this, not a laggard, and we need to make sure that our federal BOP is doing its best in this space. So we're going to keep working. Thank you for continuing to advocate. This is important. This will work. We just have to keep the pressure on and let people come together, which I think we will. Thank you very much for what you're doing. God bless you. Have a great afternoon.